자, 목격자 뉴 애틀란티스에서 하이드리안을 만나다. 잠깐만, 돌아갔나? 아, 안 돌아갔지? 금소지품. 큰일 날 뻔했다. 금소지품 뺏기면 안 되죠? 그런데 들리는 소문에 의하면 여기서 대화하는 중에 금소지품 어쩌고 저쩌고 하는 이야기가 나왔었는데, 자, 여기 불법품을 취급하는 경우가 있다고 들었는데 사실인가?
Man, sorry, I can't really say that. Really, they told me not to say anything like that because rumors, you know? All I know is that we're running a business here, and I was told to take in all trades and sell whatever we've got. And listen, I'm not gonna worry about anything other than that.
자, 모든 걸 사고 판다.
We do here.
자, 모든 걸 사고 팔기 때문에 여기 있나? 자원? 아닌데? 기타에 있는 건 아닌데? 전체 같이 판매 참 깜빡했네. 기타 여기 있다. 발론 가문의 2단서 2개를 팔 수 있는데 가치가 많이 떨어지네. 1148. 이거 어떻게 세탁 안 되나? 세탁이 안 되나? 2개인데? 얼마 안 되는데 굳이 이런 건 안 가져도 되겠구만. 어때? 숨겨놓을 곳이 없나? 에이, 팔아. 굳이 저 7,000얼마나 가치가 7,000얼마나 써있길래 가져왔더니 뭐 무기 하나만 못하네. 뭔가 우회할 수 있는 루트가 없으면은 굳이 안 가져와도 될 것 같네요. 그냥 무기 몇 개 주워다가 파는 게 더 나을 것 같아. 현재로서는.
Hey, let me know if we're going to head into the well, so I can watch your back.
다시 저쪽으로?
Captain, over here.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon. One-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
그 계획의 성과는 또 다른 복잡품이 남았나? 다른 클론이 있는 건 아니야?
I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young. Training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it.
UC가 클론을 만들다니 베이빅티스가 얼마나 대단한 사령관이었길래?
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned.
근데 왜 처형당한 거지? 어차피 그냥 전범 같은 건가?
He had his men open fire on civilian
Aha.
ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the colony war to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him.
아버지와는 다를 것이다. 내각이 그것을 모른다면 그것은 내각의 책임이다. 근데
I
아버지는
really
남자?
appreciate you saying
얘는
that.
여잔데?
I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss?
근데
I know you got dropped into the
클로는
middle of this
똑같이 나오는 거 아닌가?
Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here.
근데 내가 이게 무슨 말을 하면 좋지?
Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions.
당신 아버지에 대한 이야기를 좀 더 들려줄래?
I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being fleet admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the colony war, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy, perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me too.
But Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life.
그러면은 데이터에 접근하는데 어떤 위험이 있을까?
Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise.
됐어. 질문은 없다.
Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
가야겠구만.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
먼저 가. 또 퀘스트 꼬일까봐 겁난다. 공부회의실.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
하이드리아는 이 문제를 해결하는 것이 시급하다고 단언했다.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
아카이브 데이터에서 텔레모프에 의한 재앙을 막을 수 있는 방법을 찾고 싶다.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic, and at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium.
I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all
공포의
alarming?
변태. 그는 불시에 침입한 식민지를 전멸시켰다. 끔찍한 일이다.
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
허용한다. 데이터가 무기로 전용되어 있는 것을 우려한다면 텔레모프 계획은 실패한 것이다. 위험하지 않다. 타워시티에서 일어나는 일이 다른 곳에서 일어날 수 있다면 요청을 허용해야 한다. 일본 같은데? 뭘 해도 그냥 진행이 될 것 같은데.
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
뭐야?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport.
와, 타이밍 좋네.
Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, Order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain,
아니,
right behind you. Let's get down
그
there.
괴물들이 어떻게 여기로 왔대? 우주선에 매달려 왔나? 어? 액세스 안 되고? 안 되고? 아, 여기 밑으로. 깜짝아. 어? 왜 이래? 왜 이래, 왜 이래? EM 무기 회수해서, 아하. 애들이 지금 뭐 감염이 돼가지고, 얘 또 일본어로 또 그냥 나오네? 얘는 이렇게 회수해가지고, 얘를 써서, 장착했고, 쏴야 되는 거지? 쏘면 돼? 응, 됐어. 상태 평가. 자.
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting. I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready.
오호. 그러니까 텔레모프는 사람의 마음을 조정할 수 있다는 뜻인가?
I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them. But still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terramorph.
서두르지 않으면 안 될 것 같다.
Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
자, 그러면은 EM 무기를 좀 여기다가 현재로서는 요거를 1번에다 넣어야겠네? 1번에다 놓고 그 다음에 자 2번으로 저거 잡고 그렇게 진행을 해야겠구만. 우주항.
I don't think we're alone.
No time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move.
Spaceport District. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
우주항으로. 아, 저기 있다. 그러면은 얘는 이제 갈아 끼우고, 얘도 이걸 갈아 끼고, 빵야. 오호. 나 에너지 안 들었지? 안 맞았지 아직? 왜 우리를 두고 가셨어요? 헛소리 듣나? 잡았다. 쉽다.
Barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
부대와 대화하기.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us.
자, 우리 뒤를 지켜봐줬으면 좋겠어가 뭐지? 쫓아오라는 건가? 아, 아껴둬. 둘 다 거기서 움직이지 마. 나 혼자 할 거야.
We're on the line.
자, 어차피 얘들은 이제 안 올 거니까 무기를 얘 말고 지금 현재 자주 쓰는 거 요거 베어울프를 끼고 잠깐 지금 쓰고 있는 게 이게 아니네? 딴 거 있나? 요거를 가지고 진행. 한 마리가 아니네? 이쪽으로 돌아가 볼까? 랩 19짜리구만. 오, 근데 데미지가 엄청 안 들어가는데? 에이, 별거 아니구만. 맞아도 뭐 에너지도 안 다네. 근데 재장전이 굉장히 느리구만 얘가. 자, DPS로 잠깐만, 지금 무게가 얼마큼 되지? 162. 나중에 자, DPS를 바꾸고 해볼까? 컨테이너 안에 들어있는 거야? 퉁퉁 소리가 나는데? 띄우고 몸빵 잘하고 계셔요. 이거 아파라. 이런. 한 번 더. 다 잡았나? 아직 안 잡았네? 됐다.
Target down. Nice work, Captain.
It's over. Thank God.
싹 다 먹고.
If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
여기 하나 쓰러뜨린 거 어디 갔지? 되겠다. 그 다음에 퍼스널 에어.
Make sure you strip everything useful from that thing.
쿵쿵. 다 썰었다.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place.
잘 통제해줬어. 오늘의 영웅이다.
Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
자, 빠른 이동 되나? 안 되겠지? 이럴 때는 꼭 빠른 이동 같은 게 잘 안 되던데? 그치. 안 되네. 잠깐만. 이렇게 가서, 이렇게 내려가서, 이렇게 안 되는구만. 그리고 어차피 그것도 안 된다. 무게 때문에도 안 되네.
They said you're free to come and go.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Losing anyone in the line of duty
there you
is a
are.
tragedy.
I believe
Tax,
we have some things
they
we
can't
should
happen
discuss.
again.
This isn't a good time.
Captain? Hadrian, it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
고마워요. 이 두 개는 좀 그렇다.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative.
왜 의견에게 맡기지 않는 거지? 전문가가 하는 거 아닌가?
The cabinet wants progress, and wants it quickly. You're already far more familiar with the situation than any diplomat would be. There's also no diplomat alive that can claim they helped keep a cadre of terramorphs off the embassy doorsteps. The cabinet was unanimous. They want you.
그것이 최선이라고 확신한다면 그렇게 하지.
We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us?
맡겨주세요.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
My officers were prepared for what happened at the spacecraft. I
I'm gonna
intend to
go check
correct
in
that.
with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting...
맥킨타이어 보좌관과 대화.
Addie?
Chief Yassine, these orders, a Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require.
밀리 안 와. 말을 하려면 밀리 와야지. 어?
That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
식민지 선정으로 금지된 데이터가 보관되어 있는 곳이지.
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
우주항이 습격당했으니까 소란을 피우며 도움을 요청할 것 같다.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
사유 항성 동맹부터 가지.
The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
If Sam is any example of how stubborn the Freestar people can be, then I can imagine how difficult it must be dealing with this ambassador.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
다른 방법?
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
잠입 액션인가? 레드클리프 대사에 대한 정보는 여기까지로 충분하다. 근데 대사관 내에서 피해야 할 다른 것들은 무엇인가?
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
아, 정보는 여기까지로 충분하다. 또 잠입인가? 또 잠입을 해야 하는가?
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
종료? 이야기 더 해야 되나?
Captain, would you like to finish your briefing on the ambassadors?
그럼 이번에는 발룬 가문의 발명 대사에 대해서 알려주세요. 다 물어봐야 되는구만.
Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
발룬 가문에 문제가 있는 건가?
Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations, but then, without warning, they left. Leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
어쨌든 그것은 기대할 수 있을 것 같아. 뭘 기대하나?
It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
그가 죽었다면 어떻게 하지?
Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
즉, 아무도 대사관에 들어가 본 적이 없다는 뜻인가?
The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out.
대사관에서는 어떤 생명의 징후를 감지했나?
The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador.
찾아봐야겠군, 어쨌든.
I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask.
I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
자, 레드클리프 대사부터 만나는 게 좋다. 잠깐만, 그러면 혹시 전투 상황이 벌어지더라도 살생은 하지 않도록 EM 무기를 쓰는 것이 좋겠죠? EM 무기가 이거 말고 또 있었는데? 에너지 EM 얘 있나? 아니 얘가 있나?
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak. Have something for me?
무기 EM 여기 있다. EM 있네. 여기 있네. 전자기소총 105. 오, 얘가 좀 센데? 105? 그리고 131, 135.
Admiral Logan's office shouldn't be terribly far.
아, 얘한테 그거
If you
줘야겠다.
don't mind, I'd like. If you have any gear.
얘한테 무기 중에서 요거 EM 무선 도스 요거 줘야겠구만. 그리고
Admiral Logan's office shouldn't be terribly far.
저는 그거를 장비를 요거 노바 블래스트 디스럽터 EM
Let's go.
자, 먼저 갈 곳은 자꾸 지도를 누른다는 게 엉뚱한 걸 누르네? 자유항공 동맹의 아카이브 코드부터 얻어라. 여기는 제미슨 마스터 지구안에 열리 가라. 빠른 이동 안되고 로찌에 가서 로찌가 이 안에 있을 텐데 그렇지.
Now that we're here, perhaps we could spend a bit of time relaxing rather than planning.
Captain, may I be of assistance on your ship?
Ever since I got here, this has felt like home. These people are family. I hope it feels that way for you too.
Oh gosh, no. I mean that's flattering, but really, we're making this up as we go.
Until you arrived, we only had the two, and the vaguest sense that there was something more at work.
There's still so much we don't know, and that means a lot of work ahead of us.
얘한테 뭐 줄 수 있는 게 있었는데 어떻게 연구를 도울 수 있는지 알려주세요.
Well, right now nothing's off the table. Metallurgical analysis, chemical composition. I'm looking at everything. One thing I'm really trying to improve is my overall database of xenobiology. I don't know if it will help in this case, but the more we know about, well, everything, the better off we are, right? Speaking of, if you're going to be out there looking for more artifacts, you're bound to come across some interesting specimens. Anything organic, I'd be happy to take it off your hands.
유의적인 것이군요. 알겠습니다.
There's a galaxy chock full of resources. The more data I have, the more thorough an analysis I can do. And if it sweetens the deal, I can pay. Pretty well, too. Walter's pockets may not be bottomless, but they are pretty deep.
유기 자원을 가져왔다.
Anything I can learn from is a help.
자, 여기서도 줄 수 있고, 이건가? 자원? 유기 자원. 이거 줄 수 있는 거? 밴드 3,500원밖에 안 되네? 근데 얘한테 주는 거 맞나? 공예재료로 사용할 수 있다라고 되어 있는데, 그리고 프론티어에 있어도 어차피 돈이 없구나 얘가. 스타본에 대한 생각이 있나?
You mean what could be the biggest discovery in the history of humanity? Yeah, I've got some thoughts. Scans are still inconclusive, but I think we've seen enough to know that we're dealing with something potentially even more unusual than the artifacts. There are so many questions beyond just who are they? How did they find you? How do they know about the artifacts? Why has no one ever seen them before?
걱정하지 마. 해답은 찾을 수 있을 테니까.
They did openly threaten you, as I understand it. I'd say that's something to worry about. It was one thing when this was just about us investigating the artifacts. A weird phenomenon that didn't come with creepy threats or questions about aliens or whatever it is that's going on now. I know we'll figure it all out in the end. It's just kind of a lot right now.
됐고.
Stay safe, okay?
그리고
Still need to lift another set today.
가방 안에다가 좀 넣어야겠다. 가방이 아니지, 상자. 여기 상자 안에다가 짐을 좀 넣어서 보관소 전송 기타 자원 적철광액 변성 조직 의류 요건 그냥 가지고 있어도 될 것 같고, 또 무게가 많이 나가는 게 이쪽인데 무게를 너무 많이 못 들고 다니네. 탄약으로 바꾸고, 탄약 겹치는 거는 뭐 사실 문제가 있으니까. 얘가 더 좋은데? 얘를 넣어놓자. 여기다 넣고 9.39 없네. 겹치는 게 없는데도 질량이 계속 모자라네? 뭐가 질량을 많이 차지하고 있는 걸까? 탄약? 질량 차지 안 하는데? 회복? 이거 제법 먹네 이것들이. 얘만이 또 5개네. 외계인 유전자 촉매가 먹는 거야? 아, 먹는 거구나. 이런 것들이 좀 먹네. 이거 먹어가면서 그럼 플레이를 해야겠군요. 기타는 어차피 무게 차지를 안 하니까 상관없고, 메모도 당연히 무게 차지 안 할 테고, 일단 이렇게 넣고, 누나.
If you don't mind, I'd be happy to carry.
누나한테 자원이 있으니까 이 자원을 막 가져와서 여기다 넣어놔야겠다.
Admiral Logan's office shouldn't be terribly full. I think we need to get rid of some.
참. 자원 딱 넣고, 그러니까 무기에서 하나 노는 게 있는데 겹치는 거? 요거를 넣어놓고.
Yeah.
이제 그 대사관에 가서 잠입 액션을 찍어야 되나? 이제 필요한 게 자유항상동맹의 아카이브 코드 얻기. 순서를 아예 정해줬네. 정문으로 들어가서 그냥 떳떳하게 이야기하면 된다, 그건가? 잠깐만, 이 가지고 있는 파워 중에서 시간 조정하는 게 있는데? 위상시간? 요걸 넣을까? 여기다가? 요거다가? 두 번째에다가? 느리게 한 다음에 도망을 간다거나? 이게 가능한가?
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar Affairs office before I can set foot in there. You gotta be kidding me. It's plumbing, not pastry. It could cause an incident. It'd mean my job, sir. Fine. I'll begin the process. Wouldn't want to withhold a chance for more red tape from the great UC.
응? 이 친구
Working at the embassies is always a nightmare, but you can't beat the pay rate.
얼굴이 좀 나지, 근데? 잠깐만, 여기 안에서까지 입고 다니는 건 좀 무리가 있으니까 이런 것 좀 자동으로 풀어줬으면 좋겠네. 계속 이야기하지만 옷은 이게 제일 낫다. 여기다 모자까지 딱 쓰면은 별로다. 모자 쓰지 말자. 옆머리가 없으니까 머리가 없는 것처럼 보이네. 여기서 빠른 저장 한번 하고.
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the collective, when it seems like only yesterday.
이렇게 가도 되는 거야, 그냥 막? 그러네?
I'm going to be upfront. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective, but you lead, and I'll follow.
Still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment?
테러 목표의 습격을 막고 싶을 것이다. 그래서 거래를 하러 왔다.
What are you? You're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right.
부탁을 하러 온 거다. 부탁?
Oh, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours and go?
연설. 와, 연설이다. 제발 내 말을 들어주세요. 된다?
You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One.
안 되면 써주기 해야 돼? 그건 아니잖아.
Understood.
어쨌든 감사합니다. 어쨌든 들어주세요. 설득.
I'm listening.
테러모프 재능무기 계획은 실패했다. 그렇기 때문에 그 지식은 위험하지 않아.
You know that for sure. That is interesting.
내가 쏴주겠어. 그리고 당신은 군인이었고 지키는 것이 당신의 임무였지. 이 데이터는 그 일을 위해 사용할 거야.
I suppose you're right. Our job and our responsibility.
사람의 목숨이 걸려있다는 것을 잊지 마세요. 원한이 있다 이런 식으로 얘를 가져야 되나?
Preventing more deaths is precisely what I'm trying to do by keeping the archives sealed. Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer is not changing. The UC is just going to have to find another way. Now, I presume you can see yourself out.
하하, 이러면 골치 아픈데? 자, 이 대사 이 친구하고 좀 이야기를 해봐서 뭔가 다른 돌파구를 마련해야 될 것 같아요. 어이, 아저씨?
Woman isn't absolute. Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier.
확실히 운이 좋았다. 그 옷은 마치 전쟁터 같았어.
Wow, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her.
더 많은 힘을 발휘할 수 있는 곳이 있을 것 같아. 함께 일하지 않겠어?
You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private?
일리 와. 보고 있어. 이 친구들이 다 보고 있어 지금. 여기가 사람이 안 보는 곳이냐 여기가? 잘 보고 있는데 얘가? 그치? 그치 여기가 아니지. 얘를 통해서 잠입을 해야 될 것 같구만. 설득이 됐으면 더 좋았을 텐데. 자, 보안 슬레이트를 먼저 한번 읽어보고, 선택상 보안 슬레이트가 메모 같은 데 있나? 보안 슬레이트 요건가? 맞나보다. 자유왕성 동맹 대사관 경비 보안 알림 회의실 유틸리티 섹션 출입문이 잠금 해제된 채 발견되었다. 그러니까 문이 잘 열린다는 뜻이구만. 요거를 이용해야 되겠네. 그걸 이 친구가 해결해 줄 건가?
So you want me to work with you. But why now? Why me?
테레봄의 추가 공격을 막을 수 있도록 좀 도와줘. 대사의 협조를 기대할 수 없군. 근데 거짓말을 할까? 아니야.
No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me?
대사의 아카이브 액세스 코드를 얻었으면 좋겠어. 가능한가?
Okay, first you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of splitting the atom with a spoon than me getting that from her.
그러면은 아카이브용 코드 머신에 접속할 수 있게 해줄 수 있나?
The code machine.
아하, 그럼 두
The
번째구만.
ambassador's cleared for in there. Sorry.
결국 두 번째네. 아무도 볼 수 없는 대사의 거주 구역에 들어갈 수 있게 해줘.
Her quarters. Huh. Well, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services?
자, 돈으로? 돈으로? 제외 공간이 공작원으로 영입하겠다. 거짓말 하지 마. 정직하게 가.
Oh, wait. I thought you were looking
그래?
to hire me. I'm not taking a bribe.
아, 고용을 원해? 공작원으로 영입하게 된다. 아, 그렇다면 늘리자. 8,000 크레딧. 돈으로!
That much, huh?
아까는 돈이 너무 적은 거였구나.
Okay, no, okay, yeah. Okay, so there's a utility corridor that leads into the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC.
자, 들어가야 되는데 공동 뭐 어디로 가라고? UC 청음기에 액세스하기. 응? 청음기? 뭐가 청음기야? 아, 여기가 액세스 키구만. 여기를 들키면 안 된다. 이거 가능한가? 안 들킬 수가 있나? 불법 침입 중. 여긴가? 일리 가는 게 맞나? 여긴 좀 막힌 것 같은데. 통풍구고. 씨, 깜짝아, 씨. 이 누나 오지 말라 그래야겠다. 누나? 아, 이 안에서 좀 기다려 봐봐. 아줌마, 일리 와요. 이 누나 일리 와봐요. 아, 누나는 잠깐 여기서 기다리고 있어. 그래. 여기서 이제 어떻게 움직이냐가 관건인데, 아래층이야? 이게 맞아? 오씨. 그럼 여기 지금 비살상이니까 왜 화가 나? 뭐 보이지도 않으면서. 뭐야? 그거 총을 쐈어? 아니, 전투가 벌어지는 거야? 뭐 했다고? 아니, 가만히 있으라니까, 이 치집애. 아, 걸렸네? 다시 해야겠다. 로딩. 오호. 빠른 저장. 공격을 할 수가 없네. 일살상이더라도 안 되는 거구만. 아, 너 여기 있어. 움직이지 마.
No problem.
일단 여기 열어놓고 여기는 뭐지? 일단 여기가 길은 맞는 것 같은데 바로 앞에 뭐 있네? 여기구만. 됐어. 화본.
Are you alright, Ambassador? It seems the Council of Governors has rejected my appeal to join. Again. Which means you and I are stuck in this colonial rat cage until we die. But I think we might need to. We should expedite the process.
What are you getting at, ma'am?
I mean, my requests keep being rejected because they don't want to add a seat, right? But what if one opened up? The minds of heart in what it used to be. It's not like anyone would miss him.
Eva, I think it's time to get some sleep.
Just think about it. Maybe we can reach out to some experts at that sort of thing, huh?
Good night, Eva.
오호라. 레드클리프와 대화하기. 뭔가 안 좋은 일을 꾸미고 있네? 누군가를 암살하려고 그러나? 여기가 아니다.
This building is Freestar sovereign territory. So in here.
이 양반하고 다시 이야기를 해서 나는 너의 비밀을 알고 있다.
Did I not make myself abundantly clear, Captain? You're not getting access to the archives.
총독부 의회에 어떤 인물을 교체할 계획이 있다는 것을 알고 있습니다.
Excuse me? I have no idea what you're talking about.
증거가 있지요. 상세하게 알려지면 문제가 될 것 같은데요.
No. If the council found out, I'd lose my position. I'd be exiled. Look, I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot. The issue at hand is one of trust, no? So perhaps if I can trust you to keep this little secret between us, then maybe we can find a way to trust the UC with access to the archives.
말이 통하시는 분이군요. 거래 성사.
Good. I appreciate you working with me. Just like I'm sure our great powers will. In fact, I think there's an opportunity here. Keep both our factions happy and ensure an air of legitimacy to the whole proceeding. I can only let you get the information on the Terramorphs. Anything else and people will get suspicious. And all research will need to be monitored. Freestar scientific observers making sure everything's being used for the right purposes. But those two items should be enough to allay any suspicions.
그 조건이라면 동의할 수 있다.
Good. Okay, let's go get you your access.
돈을 좀 뜯어낼 걸 그랬나? 이 아줌마도 아래층으로 내려가네?
They tell me it should only take a moment.
코드.
And there. Code generators just this way. It is reassuring to know there are still some people in this universe you can trust. Here you go. I hope that'll be enough to maintain your discretion.
자, 됐고 이제 벌룬 가문에 가서 그쪽 코드를 받으면 된다. 에이? 이쪽으로 돼 있네? 에이? 똑같은가? 자, 다음은 벌룬 가문. 잠깐만. 빠른 이동이. 이거 어디로 가야 돼? 여긴 또? 벌룬 가문. 이동. 상업지구 있구만.
Can we run through it one more time?
여기야? 구석에 있구만. 잠겨 있다. 그냥 가도 되나? 지금 모르니까 또 세이브. 자, 여기를 뭐 들키면 안 된다고 하지 않았나? 근데 완전히 폐허인데? 대사관이 왜 이렇게 난리가 났지? 인터폰으로 잠깐만, 사라가 그러고 보니까 안 따라왔네? 다시 데리러 가야 되나? 일단 전원 스위치. 경비를 조심해라. 사라를 떼놓고 왔네? 어? 보안 컴퓨터. 요걸로 어떻게 할 수 있겠구만. 요거랑 3개짜리. 요건가? 아니, 요건가? 아니네? 요거랑 요건가? 자, 지금 터렛 제어, 적과 아군 설정 변경, 전투 억제 장치 해제. 아니죠, 그거 아니고, 취소, 설정 재조정, 현재 사용자 보호. 현재 사용자 보호를 나를 보호한다는 뜻이겠지? 터렛은 지금 정지 중인데? 시작. 현재 사용자 보호. 그래, 시작하면 어떻게 되지? 아, 일단 그냥 가보자. 뭐가 있다는 거지? 어떤 적이 있다는 거야? 오. 오, 깜짝아. 뭐지? 움직이는 건가? 아닌데? 길이 이쪽은 없는데? 일 가야 되는데? 뭔가 아직 들키진 않았구나. 안 먹어. 무게 때문에 안 먹어. 어어. 오씨, 걸렸어. 잠깐만, 이러면 안 돼. 활성화 시키자. 지들끼리 싸우게. 자, 조건, 지금, 악어 설정이, 현재 사용자가 보호하게 돼 있고, 터렛은 일단, 작동. 시작. 됐어. 싸우면 되나 근데? 지금 모르니까 빠른 저장 해보고 에너지 무기로 무력화시키는 정도만 해보자. 터렛 켰고, 터렛이 나는 공격을 안 하고, 깜짝아, 씨. 응? 방향은 이쪽인데? 이거 움직이는 것 같은데? 파이팅! 좋았어. 또 있나? 인터콤 안 나오네? 산악 보드게임 프론티어 게임 요거는? 어드밴스야. 4개짜리가 요거랑 요거 같은데? 아니구나. 그러면은 여기 아니면은 이렇게 되고 3개짜리 뭔가? 안 되는데? 이렇게 되고 하나 둘 셋 넷 4개짜리 뭔가? 요건가 보다. 요거랑 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 세 개가 한 곳에 모여 있는 거. 요거랑. 로봇은 현재 정지되어 있는데 악어 및 접근 설정 변경. 유닛 시동 변경하고 재조정, 현재 사용자 보호, 유닛 시동, 그러면 지금 현재 사용자 보호로 되어 있다. 작동하고 있고, 빠른 저장. 이렇게 하면 이제 그냥 다녀도 잘 안 때리겠지? 반론의 성전, 스트레스 보너스가 영구적으로 1% 증가. 깜짝아. 안 때린다. 안 때린다. 다 왔다. 왜? 왜 때려? 왜 때리냐고 했는데 참 뭐야. 아니고 그것도 아니고 그것도 아니고 요거랑 두 개 붙어있는 거 요거 그리고 요건 왠지 안 맞는 느낌? 이것도 안 맞네? 헐? 하나도 안 맞네? 얘인가? 요거 하나 맞고 그 다음에 얘 일단 해보고 요거다. 사무실을 만지작거리고 있는 모습이 발견되었습니다. 터렛 정지, 적과 악원 설정 변경, 재조정, 사용자 보호. 됐지. 으이? 뭐야 얘는? 이 뭐야. 나를 보호하게 해놨는데 왜. 그리고 얘는 5발밖에 안 되는구나. 나 때리지 않겠지? 그 다음에 위로? 위층? 위층인가? 위층인 것 같은데? 뭔가 움직이는 소리가 나고 있고, 여기 아니면 여기인데? 여기 맞나 본데? 여긴 또 따로인가? 이쪽에 터렛이 있다. 여기 있다고? 어디? 아유 젠장. 층층마다 다르구만. 에너지 무기라 애들이 이게 꽉 차면은 일어나는구만. 못 일어나는구만. 됐다. 다시 부활하네? 아닌데? 에이씨. 어우 짜증나. 이거 무기 별로 안 좋다. 그치? 유도 물론 막 싸우면 이기겠지만 다 느려지네. 나만 느려지는 게 아니고 벽만 느려지는 게 아니고 다 느려지는구만. 이거 없어지면 또 일어날 거 아니야 애들. 일어나. 아, 터렛 좋았어. 아작을 내주세요. 이쪽에도 뭔가 조작할 수 있는 게 있다는 건데 이쪽에 있나? 이쪽 가야 있나? 없는데? 부숴야 되나 그냥? 참나. 뭐 있어? 너무 부쉈는데? 어드밴스 되잖아. 요거랑 4개짜리 겹치네? 얘하고는 안 겹치나? 얘하고 겹치는데? 이렇게 하면은 하나 둘 셋 넷 2개짜리가 필요하네. 2개짜리 얘랑 뭐 안되나? 겹치네? 그러면은 요거랑 하나 둘 셋 3개짜리 얘랑? 그러네. 얘 2개네. 요거랑 3개 안되나? 얘랑 하나, 둘, 셋. 안 되는데? 얘랑 두 개. 얘랑. 요거. 뭐야? 이거 다 했는데. 아니네? 그러면은 3개짜리인데 한 곳에 몰려있는 거 없고, 그러면은 2개짜리에다가 얘랑 2개짜리. 예. 두 개짜리랑 이거 아니다. 얘하고 얘하고 효과학원 설정 변경 재조정 됐다. 지하로? 무기를 그냥 때려 부수는 걸로 가야겠구만. 어디 갔지 그거? 쓰던 게 요거 베어울프. 얘가 왜 빠져나와 있었지 근데? 지하로 가라. 지하로 갈 수 있는 곳이 여기서 일을 벌렸으면은 보통 이쪽으로 가면은 뭐가 있을 텐데 없네? 지하로 가는 길이 어딨지? 여기구만. 지하 가디언 주의하고 배제해라. 써도 된다는 거구만. 로봇 모델 A 하나 있네? 그러면은 얘를 어이 리로딩 시간이 오래 걸리니까 미리 넣어놓고 봤어. 나는 봤어. 에이? 튀어나올 것 같은데 위에서 뚝 떨어질 것 같은데 있었는데? 어이씨 수수께끼 뭐에 다가서다. 여기 있는 놈은 뭐야? 죽은 놈인가? 열시 없다. 얘가 이렇게 가지고 있겠지?
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the great serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
아니 여기 혼자서 뭐하고 계셔? 어이, 다리 꼬고.
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly?
위층에서 연기를 내뿜고 있는 저게 독나무인가? 독을 가지고 있는 건가?
Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this
대충 뭔 뜻인지 알겠다.
but I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand?
우주 항구는 상태가 좋지 않지만 다른 곳은 거의 피해를 입지 않았다.
Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code.
그거.
So the UC requires information then. On terror morphs, presumably. Do I see this all clearly?
맞습니다. 아카이브에 있는 데이터를 통해서 이번 공격에 대한 이해를 바탕으로 멈춰야 한다.
The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
약속하지.
Well, then I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
그러면 다 얻었네 이제.
Let's hope it still works. And there. Let it be used for good.
됐고, 맥킨타이어 보좌관에게 돌아가기. 여기 엘리베이터겠지? 아닌가? 화장실이었구나. 엘리베이터가 따로 없네? 일이 너무 수월하게 끝났는데? 이거 가져가도 되나요? 좋은 게 안에 있는데 1인 펀치 부스트 조정된 베어울프 저장하고 혹시 모르니까. 플루토늄, 플래티넘. 이거 해도 돼? 개인용 컴퓨터? 와, 많다. 로그, 도착. 이양회서 씨가 쓴 일기 같은 거구만. 항의. 방문자. 여수 씨는 교단이라 그러나? 이 패밀리에 대한 기본적인 어떤 선입견보다 좀 사람이 좋은 사람 같네? 뭐 어쨌든 이런 것들은 읽어보면은 어느 정도 재미가 있겠죠? 하지만 패스. 열쇠가 잠겨 있는데? 어차피 혹시 열쇠, 그냥 가자. 일단 방금 얻은 무기가 어떤 건지를 좀 확인해 봐야 되니까. 베오울프 비싸다. 그리고 얘를 여기다 놔야지. 샥? 샥? 땡기네. 길이 어디지? 어디였지? 내려가는 거? 잠깐 올라왔는데 방금? 빠른 이동 되나? 일로 가면 될 것 같긴 하지만 빠른 이동이 되나? 깜짝 놀랐어 이게. 어떤 길은 여기가 맞고. 맞네. 어쨌든 대사관이 아주 박살이 나 있네. 저 문은 뭐야? 문이 아니네. 두 개 다 얻었고, 이렇게 가는 건데. 국무회의실. 근데 방금은 지하를 표시하고 있었는데 여기는 지하가 아니잖아. 지상인데.
Captain, you're back sooner than... wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement.
자이벨의 코드를 둘 다 넣었다. 이제 사용하는 일만 남았다.
That's incredible. I wasn't sure Radcliffe would ever get on board. I'm very much looking forward to getting the debrief on how precisely you managed to pull all this off, but that'll have to wait for another time. Regardless, superlative work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, alright?
뭔 소리야? 웃기는 행동이 뭐야? 유선 기록 보관소로 향하다. 끝으로 가라는 거지? 뛰어! 신선한 공기. 유전 아카이브. 유전 기록 보관소로 향하다.
Welcome, Captain, to the archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
아카이브 코드 첫 번째. 그 다음에 두 번째, 세 번째. 문 열고 요건가? 유닛 18번 있고 데이터를 이제 다시 저 밑으로 가야 되는 거야? 들락날락 들락날락. 이거 지하라고 이렇게 딱 60 딱 되어 있는데 이렇게 가면은 분명히 또 위로 올라가라고 그러겠지. 이건 좀 그렇지. 근데 잠깐만, 저기 밑에 있나 원래? 위층이 아니었나? 아닌데? 위층인데 아무리 봐도? 지하가 위층에 있는 거야? 표기만 그런가?
Surprised to find out we're having visitors as we work.
Major Sanan and I were just discussing the merits of your planned interfactional cooperation. I think it's a great idea. Get them invested in the solution. Make it clear we've got nothing to hide.
I'm sure they'll be lovely house guests.
Now, Captain, if you wouldn't mind transferring the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing next steps.
자, 데이터.
Time for us to start getting some real answers and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready.
약속해서 헤이드리안, 이 데이터는 옳은 일에 쓰일 거라고 믿어도 되겠지?
Yes. It will be. Percival and I have done our damage. This is us starting to put some things right.
Plus, you don't need her word. We'll be setting up oversight alongside the collective.
자, 이것을 맡아줬으면 좋겠다.
Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Should even be able to house its own cadre of independent observers. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
10년 걸리는 시민권을 지금 얻을 수 있는 건가?
Okay. Hello.
느릿느릿. 로딩이야? 여기서 또 선서하는 거야?
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies?
준비는 끝났다.
Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen?
맹세.
Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the Terramorphs, and they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms?
뭘 또 시키려고? 근데 나를 지목했다고? 누구지?
I'm sorry. I can't share any more without your word. Do I have it?
알았다.
Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
자, 이렇게 됐고 알려진 악마라고 하는 퀘스트로 또 진행이 되는군요.